It's not showing our speaker notes, so we need to see this.
Yeah.
So as I forward this, it'll forward that, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
I think that's good.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna start out, right? I don't remember. Thank you, everyone, and thanks for having us at the legendary Shy Hack Night. I've heard about it for years, and I've always wanted to come. I live out in the burbs; it's kind of far, but I'm so glad we got this opportunity.
Okay, so let's get the important question out of the way. How do you pronounce us? Okay, some people will say NAGW, some will say NAGW, where I'm not sure where you get the woo from, but it is pronounced NAGWA. Okay, we have some fun stickers that we threw out in the kitchen area. Some of them have our pronunciation on there. And because we are very concerned and passionate about accessibility, we do have some accessibility stickers out there. So please help yourself after we are done.
Great. So a little bit about us. My name is Deacy. I'm the Web Services Manager at DuPage County. My team's responsible for the website, the intranet, our LMS, and we have like 30 custom applications. I've been at DuPage County for 15 years, and 5 years before that I was at the City of Wheaton. So I have a long history in government web, and I have a passion about making sure that all people can get access to our information, and I really feel at home here.
And my name is Colleen Kilian. I am the systems administrator for the city of Champaign in the information technologies department. So had a little bit of a drive to get here, but I am a Chicagoan through and through by heart, displaced in a land very, very far away. I've been with the city of Champaign for over 23 years, and I handle a wide variety of software, servers, programs, communications, including our technical support of several of our digital communications, including our website. Prior to that, I had 10 years in the Champaign School District, and in our city of over 90,000, accessibility is a top priority to ensure our citizens have access to all of our services.
I also should have mentioned that I am on the NAGW board as well as Colleen. I am the Lakes Region Director. Yay, Lakes. Colleen's also in the Lakes region because she's in Champaign. So before we dive in, a little more context about how we got here. So we originally planned to do a deep dive into accessibility, web accessibility details today, but Mike Scott, the Chief Information Accessibility Officer for Illinois Department of Innovation and Technology, he delivered a really excellent talk a few weeks ago here. If you missed it, I really would encourage you to go back and watch it. It covered a lot of the foundational ground really well about accessibility. Today we're going to take it in a little bit different angle. We're going to tell you a little bit about NAGWA and then focus on some of the areas of accessibility that Mike's talk didn't really cover that much. Think of it as like the sequel, not the remake.
Not that remakes are bad.
No. So what is NAGWA? NAGWA stands for, like we said, the National Association of Government Web Professionals. Now, we thought about changing our name, but everybody's so in love with NAGWA. We think web professionals is a little outdated. We're really more like digital professionals, but we're going to keep the name because we love it. We're a community just like you guys, and we're built by government digital pros for digital pros. And the numbers tell the story pretty well. Currently, we have over 225 members. Before COVID, we were up to 300 and something, so we're trying to build back. So our members are from across the country, from small town governments to major metro agencies, city, county, state, and federal. We represent all 50 states. Our members are webmasters, web managers, system admins, communications professionals, and so much more. We've been connecting government digital professionals since the early 2000s. It started like in Kansas City in I think about 2000 or maybe 1999. So we've been around a long time. We've been through some ups and downs as well. But we have more than 20 years of shared knowledge and community. And we do it all with zero paid staff, similar to you guys, 100% volunteer led, no giant organization behind us. We're just practitioners who care deeply about this work and give our time to make the community better. That last part matters because everything we share today comes from the people who are in the trenches doing this work every day.
So now that we've kind of told you what NAGW is, let's tell you a little bit about what it offers, okay? One of the biggest strengths of NAGW is it's more than just an organization. We're kind of a little community. We're digital professionals. We connect, we share experiences, and more importantly, we learn from each other. Whether you're looking for advice on a specific challenge or exchanging ideas or, just hanging out on one of our N3 nights, we have a really strong supportive network that we're very, very proud of. Our members also have access to a lot of practical resources and best practices, topics like accessibility, AI. I'm sure you guys haven't heard about AI at all. Might be out there a little bit. Procurement, compliance, and also staying informed of the technology and as those evolve along with policies. Throughout the year, we do host some webinars. We also have some fireside chats, which are webinars, but kind of a little bit more relaxed. They feature some experts, practitioners, and we also have an annual conference where we get to go in person, which I think is just incredible, and share real-world successes and lessons learned. We also have regional representatives, like Debbie, and they play an important role in connecting all of us because we are national-wide. I mean, we're across the nation. So Debbie and I just happen to be fortunate enough that we only live like 2.5 hours from each other. But again, the conference is great because it brings us all together, and the different perspectives are all represented in that one conference. Ultimately, though, everything we do is guided by a goal of building a stronger, more connected community that ultimately raises the standards for accessible, user-centered government digital services. What we like to say is we are small, but we are very, very mighty. So let's talk a little bit about the conference, shall we? All right. So this year, our conference is in Milwaukee. So if you like beer or cheese, or both, or just like Milwaukee, you should come join us. It'll be October 6th through the 9th. And this year's conference we're going to offer something for everybody. Maybe you're in your organizations, you've heard about accessibility, but you're not sure what it is. Or maybe you're trying to lead digital transformation initiatives. Maybe you just want some insight, okay? Some of the things and how our conference works is we have these pre-conference sessions. Those are hands-on, half-day workshops of a variety of topics. We get you to dig deeper into some of the topics that we have here. Foundations of web and video accessibility for government teams. Videos need to be accessible too. Understanding the lived experience of disability. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. As we've gone through some of this stuff, especially in the past 2 years, a lot of people's eyes have been opened up into disability and not what we always thought it used to be. How do you build an effective accessibility training program for non-technical staff? That's actually a session that I'm going to be doing as a pre-conference at this conference this year. Or getting up to speed on modern CSS techniques that maybe some teams have missed. Once we have that day done, we also have a welcome reception that night, and then we jump into our 2.5-day conference. Lots of things we've got coming up. It's lots of different topics, so it's flexible. You can take a look at the sessions and decide what you want to go to. You're not locked into anything. You can go into one session and be like, this isn't what I thought it was, and go and jump into another session. Topics range from everything to web video accessibility, practical use of AI, content strategy and governance, leadership, project management, team culture, and the latest developments in web development, design systems, 2 panel discussions, which we brought last year, which was a really, really big hit, and content management systems. Something new that we're doing this year, because normally we'll have like 3 keynotes, but a lot of people wouldn't stay for the last day. So what we're doing this year on that Friday morning is we're going to wrap up with a relaxed coffee and conversation session. What it'll do is give our attendees one last opportunity to kind of connect, share ideas, and continue the discussions of everything we've learned before we head home. Throughout our conferences, the focus has always been on providing practical, actionable insights that participants can take back to their organizations and put in practice right away. And that is one thing that you'll hear a little bit later. The City of Champaign has definitely benefited from my membership within NAGW. Okay? All right, so our 2 keynotes are not finalized yet. We're close. I know, Joel, you were hoping. I know you were. I see you over there. You were hoping. We are this close, but I'm going to give you a little bit of hints of who they're going to be. So our first keynote speaker has spent many years in the intersection of technology and government. He's the author of numerous books on digital government, including one of the most recent publications focusing on using AI in state and local governments, which is a very hot button topic for us right now. He also previously led a National Public Technology Institute and is a fellow of the National Academy of Public Administration and is bringing a wealth of experience and insight to the conference. Joel, you can Google that. Our second keynote brings a different perspective, but equally valuable perspective, focusing on how AI is transforming advertising, communications, and digital engagement. They'll also direct a hands-on social media lab, they also direct a hands-on social media lab at a Big Ten university. Anyone? All right. Where they work with students and organizations on emerging technologies and digital strategy. Together, these 2 speakers are going to offer unique perspectives on how AI is changing the way we work, communicate, and deliver digital services. We're looking forward to hearing from them. We're more looking forward to being able to announce them, again, soon, I promise you. But we know that those keynotes are going to set the stage for just a thought-provoking and engaging conference. Oops, they're not hidden. You didn't see that.
Pretend like you didn't see that.
You didn't see that. Shh. All right, so the other thing that we do at our conference is we give out awards because everybody likes a trophy, right? So what we have is our Pinnacle Awards. What our Pinnacle Awards are is we celebrate the best work in digital government. The websites, the tools, the campaigns that make public service more useful and accessible to all. Those winners will be honored at our awards dinner during the conference on Thursday night. So, you know, I say it's a trophy, it's really cool, but getting the award is more than just receiving a trophy. You're being recognized from your peers on, you know, the challenges, the dedication involved in delivering high quality digital services to the public because it's important. It's also a chance to share ideas. You know, maybe you've created something really cool. You want to share it. Maybe someone else is struggling to figure out that, and maybe by you sharing that, you're going to help a fellow colleague person out there. So our awards cover a wide range of categories. On the website, we recognize excellence in city, county, state, federal, special district, and microsite signs, with awards based on factors like usability, accessibility, design, performance, and overall user experience. We also celebrate innovation through categories that recognize outstanding social media campaigns, AI and automation, podcasts and multimedia, online services, especially, you know, when we went into the pandemic, online services were huge to be able to still reach citizens and those wanting to learn more, okay? Maybe you've got a data dashboard out there, or how about mobile experiences, accessibility initiatives, or virtual community engagement, and unfortunately, crisis communications, because that is something that is important. So no matter what the size of your organization or project, I would bet there's probably likely a category that might fit. So if your team has completed a project and you're kind of proud of it, I mean, even if you're not proud of it, put it in there anyway, but you should be proud of it. Submit it. It's a great opportunity to celebrate your success, gain national recognition, and share your work. So take a second and think about submitting one if you're in that realm. There is so much incredible work happening out there, especially across government, and these awards are our chance to celebrate us and give ourselves a pat on the back. So if your team has built a new website, improved accessibility, introduced an initiative online, or found a creative way to engage, we'd love to see your submission. It's a great way to highlight your team's work and share ideas that can inspire others. So, now that we've told you a little bit about NAGWA, let's talk about some accessibility things that are driving governments nuts right now.
Thank you. So under the DOJ Title II rule, which was the rule that the federal government put out that said that local state and government websites have to be accessible. Well, it was supposed to be by April this year. Now they gave us another year and they're re-looking at the rule. So the rule may go away. It may change. We don't know what's going to happen with this administration. But we are still going forward and making our site 100% accessible. I say 100%, but can it be 100%? Not really. I have 100 web editors around the county, so they can do something that'll put it out of compliance, but we're always checking it and we're always working towards that goal, that North Star of our site should be accessible to everyone. Any public facing third-party applications also has to be accessible too. So that's the part that we're going to talk about now, which is we have a large number of third-party applications at DuPage County, and I'm sure other counties and cities as well. And managing VPATs for all of them has been a little bit more work than, not a little bit, actually a lot more work than I thought it was going to be. So if your organization relies heavily on third-party tools, plan for that time because it takes a lot. So a VPAT is a voluntary product accessibility template. It's essentially a report card for their product. So some vendors complete them internally and some hire third-party auditors to do it for them. But either way, the quality and thoroughness can vary so much. A well-credentialed third-party VPAT carries more weight than a self-graded one, but neither is a guarantee. So here's what we've learned in practice. Ask for the VPAT before you sign the contract, not after. A VPAT reflects the product at the time it was completed. So as software becomes updated, the VPAT can quickly become outdated. The best practice is to request a newer updated VPAT every couple of years or anytime a vendor releases a significant product update. You have to build VPAT requirements into your procurement documents so vendors know it's expected from the start of the bidding process. I hate procurement so much, and this is like, it's really tedious to me, and this has been challenging. If a vendor's VPAT shows gaps, you don't have to walk away immediately. You can ask for a roadmap, like when they plan to fix what's not accessible, but get it in writing. And then, unfortunately, you still have to test yourself anyway. You can't really trust them. We found accessibility issues in applications that the VPAT said were fully supported. So trust but verify is not just a good motto here. It's really a necessity. So one thing I wasn't expecting, that a lot of vendors who actually make software for governments don't have an accessible product. I don't know. I'm just amazed by that and disappointed. That's been one of the bigger surprises in this process. And keeping track of it all too is kind of hard. I did create like a SharePoint database where I upload the VPAT and I put a lot of information in it. I'm going to have it maybe automatically remind me when it's over 2 years old or something like that. I have to work on that a little bit, but that's the best way I found to keep track of them. And I know you did something.
We did. So in Champaign, we built accessibility checks and VPAT reviews into our procurement process. I'm lucky in the fact that our procurement team has been really good in trying to help us implement that. But we also as well realized it's a really big challenge because not everybody knows what to look for. And again, as Debbie said, there's often the assumption that, they gave us a VPAT, we're fine. It's not. The reality is only VPATs tell part of the story. So, you could have a software worth of VPAT, but it doesn't cover everything that maybe you put into that system. So like a PDF or maybe other content that you may create. So it's a good reminder that accessibility doesn't just stop at purchasing the right tool. It's something that we have to continually manage every day. So.
Sure.
How many VPATs are each of you managing?
I think we're at about 50.
We're probably at about 30, 35. Oh, sure. The question was, how many VPATs are each of our organizations managing? You said what?
50, but I did just find another one. I just happened upon this application that we have that I didn't know about it. So now it's 51.
So I would say, and again, a lot of it has to do with how many third-party apps that your organization is using. So obviously, the more that you use, the more that you will have to have. But a lot of that depends, is it right now, the DOJ ruling just tells us anything external facing. I personally feel eventually it's going to turn internal. So like staff who maybe have accessibility needs. So one of the things at Champaign is we're trying to do, involve the top down. So if we start at the top and we make accessibility part of everything that we do, it will become easier. Then that way we don't have to stop and think, well, is this going external or internal? It doesn't matter. It's accessible, so it should be able to be covered everywhere. Does that hopefully answer a little bit? There are a lot.
That is a very good point. If you get buy-in from the top, which we have at the county, our county administrator understands what accessibility is, and he talks about it all the time. So that's why we're getting a lot of cooperation from our departments and elected officials. So I want to talk about this, though, about tools. I want to talk about this. It doesn't get said enough, I don't think, but I don't think the burden of accessibility should fall entirely on government staff. The tools themselves need to step up. Just think about what we pay for these products. Microsoft Enterprise Agreements alone run in the millions for organizations of our size, and Adobe is not cheap either. And yet, creating an accessible Word document or a tag PDF still requires extra steps that most staff don't even know exist. It's buried in menus that even an experienced user struggles to find. And also, the people that are creating these documents at DuPage County are not web professionals. They're stormwater engineers, they're electrical engineers, they're county administrators. They are the expert in their field. Accessibility is not their job, and I don't think it should be, at least at the technical detail that these tools currently demand. It's not easy. I wouldn't say it's hard, but it's tedious, and you do kind of have to have a knack for it. When you export a Word document to a PDF today, accessibility gaps are baked in from the start, and that is the tool problem, not a people problem. So Microsoft and Adobe, they have the resources, they have the reach, and I think they have the responsibility, frankly, to make accessibility the default, not an optional add-on that requires a specialist to configure. When we pay enterprise-level prices, we should get an enterprise-level accessibility out of the box. So what did we do about it at DuPage County? Well, we kind of stopped waiting for the tools to catch up. We created a policy, and this is important, you have to create a policy. We created a policy and designated ourselves an HTML first organization. PDFs are not mobile friendly. They create remediation headaches, and they should only be used when absolutely necessary. There are times when you need them. I'm not going to say that they're not, but they're very difficult for someone with a disability to read, and they're not mobile friendly. That drives me crazy. So we are trying to create HTML out of everything we can. We're working on ways to give our staff easy tools to publish things like big plans, like our strategic plan, our large planning documents. I'm working on some AI stuff maybe to help them create these documents and with all of our branding included. The goal is to make it simple enough that the stormwater engineer and the county admin can do it without needing a web team member looking over their shoulder. Accessibility by default, not by effort, is what I say. And I know that's a soapbox, but I really believe it.
But she's right, and very well said, Debbie. At the City of Champaign, I would say that about 95% of our staff have little to no knowledge of accessibility, digital accessibility. And you're trying to find ways to train hundreds of people on even the basics. I mean, especially accessible documents. That's what we are struggling with on the most. Has been the biggest challenge since the DOJ ruling came down, which, if you want to read it and you understand it, please let us know, because it's clear as mud and continues to be. So what I had to do is I actually created my own PDF accessibility training program for my non-tech users. I made it available to anybody who touched a PDF, whether you created it, you edited it, you even looked at it. You need to be taking this training. And one of the nice things, I've had a lot of participation. It's been really great to see them participate, but I've had like my deputy city managers and department heads joining in and learning more. So that buy-in from the top down, especially, you know, with my organization, has been wonderful. So, you know, and a lot of the training, where did I get the training? Because it's not out there. I developed it through my NAGWA resources. And again, that's just another way that my city has truly benefited from this membership I have through NAGWA. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's still a lot of work to do, but it is starting to make a difference, at least in my organization. So, and as I said, this is going to be a pre-con that I'm going to be doing at the conference. How do you set up a training for non-technical staff when you are a technical staff? And how do you get them to understand and really realize this is a problem and we have to do what we can to fix it? So, and just so you know, it's not just websites. So I have notes here, but I know this off the top of my head, so I'm just going to wing this. So, and my husband, who's probably watching at home, will actually appreciate this, because we were traveling last October, and this was right before the NAGWA conference. And I'm not going to tell you which airport this was at. Doesn't matter. If you want to look up close, you can. But so, and this was before I was going to do a presentation at the NAGWA conference, my first one ever. I was nervous and everything. And we were getting ready for our next flight. And I looked up and I'm like, okay. So let me preface this by saying, I do not have a disability. I am not colorblind. But I could not read some of the words on this because of the poor color contrast. Okay. That says on time. Seriously, it said on time. So I was like this and had my glasses on, and I go running up to it, and my husband's looking at me like I'm some crazy woman. And so what I took a picture. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, this would be perfect for my presentation. So, but I've used it. I've also used it when doing my PDF training back at the city. And I mean, it caught my attention because it's horrible, and it made me realize how easy it is to make inaccessible design, and it affects everyone, even in your everyday situation. Okay, I didn't have to be disabled. I didn't have to have a disability to be able to struggle with that. Okay, and you can see who it is. I'm not going to say it because I do have flyer miles with them, so I don't want to like upset them. But I mean, again, this is not accessible. This is not, this shouldn't be the case, okay? So again, many of us probably don't understand accessibility because we simply don't notice it if it doesn't affect us. But for someone who has low vision, color blindness, barriers like this makes the service difficult or even impossible. This is a great reminder why accessibility is important. It's not just about compliance, about making sure everyone has equal access to information and services.
Okay, so how are websites actually doing? Not that great. Every year WebAIM, it's an organization, scans 1 million homepages and tells us how the web is doing on accessibility. Unbelievably, 94.8% of the top 1 million homepages had at least one WCAG failure. The average homepage has 51 accessibility errors. 79% fail basic color contrast, which is crazy because that's easy. And 55% are missing alt text, even easier for images, meaning the screen reader user gets nothing. So if you don't know, when a blind user comes to your website, they have a screen reader read off everything. And if you don't have it programmed correctly, or you don't have those alt tags on those images, they will not get the information that they need. Government sites are doing a little bit better, 37.2 errors per page. That number is actually down from last year, and we think it's because of the DOJ rule. When there are real consequences, organizations pay attention because you can get sued. But keep this in mind. These are only the errors that automated tools catch. A scanner can't tell you if a form is confusing or if a PDF is impossible to navigate with a screen reader. The real number is probably a lot higher. Things that it can't do, like automatic tools can't do, are like keyboard navigation, screen reader logic, color contrast for images and charts and stuff like that. Did I have anything at the end of that? Nope. Next slide, please.
Okay. One of the things is, I'm going to say, cognitive ability. So one of the things with government is we do like to talk government, okay? So plain language. So it's really, really important, and this is one of the things Debbie is very passionate about Microsoft and Adobe, which I am too, but the plain language. Someone told me once, well, you have to dumb it down. You do not have to dumb it down, but people were copying code, our municipal code, and putting it on the page. And I understand that, but if you're trying to get somebody to understand who maybe isn't at more than an 8th grade reading level, what you're trying to convey to them, you're missing the mark. So plain language. Now, you can say, the plain language, and then you can have a link that gets them to the code if they want to go more in depth. But I think a lot of times we are missing the mark because we are making things too hard to understand. It's plain language. It's not dumbing it down.
To be accessible, I think pages should be at an 8th grade level, top level pages 8th grade, and secondary 6th grade, I think is, sometimes I get those mixed up. Yeah. Okay. Plain language is very important. Okay, so to wrap up, accessibility is a lot of work. We're not going to pretend that it's not, but just like you wouldn't build a public building without accessibility features, you shouldn't be building digital applications without accessibility features, because everyone needs to get to them, especially because we're a government agency. Everyone has the right to get to our information and understand it. The good news is that as we build better habits and vendors do their part, it gets easier, and eventually it'll become second nature.
And that's one of the things, again, being a part of NAGW all these years has been really beneficial, not only to me, but you learn from others' ideas. The resources, the connections, and everything. And again, being able to bring that back home has been amazing. So if you want to learn more about NAGW, please talk to us afterwards. We can tell you everything you need to know. And if you want to take the learning even further, join us in Milwaukee in October. It's going to be a lot of fun. So thank you guys for having us. We're thrilled to be able to be asked. And if you guys have any questions, hit us. We're here.
Yes. Yay. Thank you. I learned a lot. I actually have some questions, but I'm not going to be greedy. Who has questions? We'll start with
Hi. Well, thank you both for the presentation. I learned a lot. I didn't realize that default Microsoft Word and PowerPoint did not have accessibility standards in place. Do you guys have a visual before after example of what something with those accessibility defaults would look like?
I don't know.
I do, not with me, but I can always send it out later. But yeah, I mean, some of it is just, yeah, we can.
And some of it you wouldn't be able to tell until you tried to read it with a screen reader.
You talked about PDFs and getting rid of PDFs in favor of HTML. It seems to me like there's another driver there, and that is that PDFs are time bound. And in HTML, you would be able to present more dynamic data. Is that one of the drivers that also exists?
Yes, I'm so excited. We send out these water reports, and I don't want to talk about the water guys, but they make these reports out of Word documents, and it's just walls of text. And you guys are probably familiar. You probably get water reports. I'm not sure what it shows you, the different chemicals and stuff in your water. So I was too late for this year, and we send out 6 different ones. And I'm not kidding. It's tables and just walls of text. So I took those, and I was using Claude. I took those into Claude and made kind of a dynamic water report, and it looked so much better. You really wanted to read it, and there was 6 different things at the top where you can click on the 6 different ones. So yes, I think we can create better reports and more dynamic information, not using PDFs and using HTML.
What's the role and usefulness of AI when it comes to certain things like generating simplified versions of more complex text?
No. Could you repeat that?
The microphone's only for you too. So.
Oh, gotcha. What's the role and usefulness of AI, in your opinion, when it comes to simplifying more complex text on legislation, things like that, for general audiences?
Yes, I think you can use AI to summarize things, like the example that Colleen gave. You don't have to have your whole ordinance out there for people to read, because they start at whereas, like it's worded really weirdly. You could do a nice summary that a person at an 8th grade level, and then put a link to the actual ordinance. So yeah, I think AI is I use it all the time for summarizing and for writing content.
I think AI can be very useful, but again, it's still evolving, just like the PDF. So when the PDF first came out, everybody was like, oh, PDFs are cool, we can do this and this and this. The problem, in my personal opinion, this isn't the city's view, this is just my personal opinion, I'm going to take my city hat off, is AI can be great. However, I think too many people are relying solely on AI and not checking it. It's still evolving. So, where I think it can help, I think you need to be careful with using it, because again, especially within government, if you're not double checking your stuff and you put something out there, you're probably going to get hit a lot harder than if you were in a private sector. Private sector, you could probably push that off, but in government, it's a trickier slope. And I'm sure a lot of people are using it. Develop AI policies. That's probably the most important thing, is to have an AI policy for your organization, how it should be used. Because it should be used properly, but you have to check it, because again, it's not perfect right now.
I really appreciated the point around where responsibility lies for these tools. Are there like coalitional efforts to pressure companies, or to just ask them to make some of these changes? What would the changes be that you would recommend?
Yeah, thanks for the question. I'm the only one, everyone I talk to at NAGW feels the same way, I think, about PDFs. So I think possibly we could do something coalition-wide. I've contacted Microsoft myself. Didn't really get a lot of traction on that one, but I do try to tell everyone I know, and I keep reaching out, because what do I want from them? Well, I think it should guide you through making accessible documents. Right now, it doesn't guide you right now. You have to find the tools. They're hard to understand. You have to have like directions next to you in order to know what to do with them. You can even buy things software that sits on top of them. I don't want to name names, but there's this one software that sits on top of it. It's like $500 a license, but even that's hard. So I think they need to make it easier and make it accessible by default. I just think they have the money and the time to do it.
Yeah, I think a coalition would be great. Again, it's hard because, here we are, we're NAGW, we're small but mighty, but Microsoft has a lot more money. So, but I think, a lot of the stuff that I think we're doing is building it into our procurement process. So we're asking those questions, is your product accessible? Sometimes, and I tend to be that elephant in the room that everybody can't stand, because I always say, we're talking about this new software being in IT. Hopefully IT is part of the conversation. So I say, well, is it accessible? Well, what do you mean? Well, is it accessible? Well, I don't know. Well, have you done this, this, and this? Or, again, like we have a VPATs, a software that we use, which is great and it checks out. But, sometimes they think, oh, well, you just have that, so the software is fine. Well, you just created that PDF. Did you check it for accessibility? Well, that software says that you said that software is accessible. Yes, from anything that they push out, but nothing that you necessarily push in. So having it as part of your procurement, I think, because it's hard, because there's again, tech is great. Don't get me wrong. I'm in the tech. But I think you got to somehow find a way to hold them accountable. And if you're, if they're not going to make their stuff accessible, go to someone else who will.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Debbie, you mentioned having like 100 web editors like throughout DuPage County
Right.
that might make the site not accessible. Like, are there any good resources, for like automated testing or like testing that like civilians at large could apply to, I don't know, government resources and help point out issues or help guide?
Yeah,
civil
interesting
servants?
question. We do have a software called Site Improve that runs on top of our website and will alert us to when someone does something that's not accessible or uploads an inaccessible document. So that helps. But I've kind of made friends with a couple of disabled people in our community, and a blind person in particular, and she helped us test our tax portal, and she was able to pay her taxes. So we do reach out to residents sometimes to help us with that. One thing I want to say also is that you may not be disabled right now. I'm not disabled right now, but it takes one accident, one illness, and just aging in general can change your needs for technology in a big way. So we should all be pushing for this and making things accessible. And the other thing I like to say is the most accessible PDF is the one that was never created.
I agree.
Hi, thank you both so much for the presentation. I just want to have like a question of like how as we like can enforce and like push specifically elected officials who may have like specifically non-accessible websites, and like what kind of actions can we take to sort of enforce it, especially when as you mentioned the Disability Act continues to have like deadlines extended, and so it becomes less of a priority for some of these people over time.
Yeah, I mean that's a really good question. The city of Champaign I'm very thankful that my organization is very supportive of it. You know, it took a little bit at first, and I know that there are some people who still struggle with it. So, I mean, it happens. I mean, I still struggle with it, and I'm probably my city's biggest advocate pushing for it. But again, kind of like Debbie said, you know, use the example. Okay, I may not be disabled now, but what if something happens? Use the picture that I showed about that airline thing. I mean, that was real. Okay, that's not right. Okay, all that was color. That is simple enough to do. Tell them that the DOJ ruling, you know, that accessibility for all is important. You know, do understand that a lot of governments are trying. Now, some were taken back by surprise. Some maybe haven't moved as fast as others. I can tell you that both of our organizations have taken it seriously, have for a while, and are pushing it. But, you know, tell them this is important. This is important for everybody.
I have another idea too. You can sue them. That's what the DOJ rule was created for initially, was to give us guidance, because like I said, ADA was covered under like the 1990 ADA rule, but we never had any rules in place for web or applications. So now that that's in place, supposedly it's easier to sue because they have something to look at. Be like, oh, you didn't do this, this, and this. So that's one thing that my county hates is the word sue. So when they heard that, they were on board a little bit more.
And don't also think that, well, one of the things that I do within my PDF training, because when people hear this and they hear about suing, you know, some of the hot spots in the country that have been sued, even prior to the DOJ ruling, was New York, Florida, California. So when I told that, you know, some of the people on my staff, rightfully so, were like, okay, well, we're in Champaign, you know, a Big Ten university, who's going to come after us? But I guarantee you there are people out there looking at websites right now, just waiting that as soon as that hits, that they're going to sue. And here's the problem. It's not the people suing. The people suing are not those who have the accessibility needs. It's the people who want to make a quick buck. That's probably what bothers me the most. If it was, you know, the people who really needed it, a different story, but it's people looking to stick it necessarily to the governments, which can be, and to make money, but they're not doing it for the right reasons. The right reasons to make all of your digital platforms, your third-party apps, to hold them accountable is because it is the right thing to do. Everything should be accessible. It shouldn't matter who it is. They should be able to get the same information that the person next to them does.
Sure. Thank you so much for your presentation. I'm just curious to learn more about the VPATs, the accessibility.
So are we.
So just a couple of questions. Who sets those standards and how are they enforced? And a third question, is there like a public website where we can learn more about it?
Yes, the standards are set by the World W3C, right? And they put out the standards that are for the entire web, and they're called WCAG, which we mentioned, WCAG. And right now they're on WCAG 2.2, I think, but the rule is 2.01? 2.1, so you have to follow those. So those are all out there on the internet. You can look them up, WCAG. And what was your other question? Oh, where you can find them. That's where you can find them. And that's what they're, literally the VPAT is every WCAG regulation, and then whether they support it or not. It's like just a chart.
Perfect. Thank you, ladies. Thank you very much. I want to give you some coffee cups.
Thank you.
Everybody's favorite, like, little coffee cups. Thank you so very much. I actually want to ask you something. So if you're still here in 5 minutes, because what you do is really relevant to my project here. Anyhow, so what we're going to do next is we are going to